Australia pledges 10 million kina in disaster aid. Manam Islanders disappointed with Parliament's deferral. And final tonight of the Battle of Two Seasons.
This is National MTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Sunday's news. Australia will provide assistance to Papua New Guinea to combat the effects of the current drought and frost. Its Foreign Affairs Minister, Julie Bishop, announced Australia's commitment of 10 million kina during a visit to Enga province yesterday. Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop was in Enga province at the invitation of her PNG counterpart and Wapenamanda MP Rimbing Pato.
Yes, of course. I love you to see you here in your own.
Her visit to the province also coincided with the announcement of Australia's funding commitment towards assisting people affected by the current drought and frost.
Of course, it's raining now, but there has been drought and there have been frosts that have affected vegetation and crops. The Australian government is pleased to announce a new package of support. Governor Ibitas, I'm delighted to do it here in your presence. It will be a $9 million package for Pacific countries, $5 million dedicated to PNG.
Minister Pato said the commitment shown by Australia in assisting PNG was yet another demonstration of the close relationship enjoyed by both countries.
So consequently, we're going to get the level of support that Australia has promised. Obviously, there is a need to transport relief supplies to the rural communities of Papua New Guinea. That's something that will be in discussion, and I'm sure that we will work it through the package just announced.
His sentiments echoed by Enga Governor Chief Peter Ipetas.
We have a partnership with the Australian government. We want to thank the Australian government for finally deciding to work more closely with the Enga provincial government to try and see more development come to this last province of Papua New Guinea.
Whilst in Enga province, Minister Bishop also had the opportunity to visit several education and health training facilities that will be receiving support from the Australian government. The United Nations is committed to assisting Papua New Guinea achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Resident Coordinator Roy Trivedi says the implementation of the goals is vital for development. He called on all stakeholders to work together with the UN to achieve this.
The United Nations alone cannot deliver the SDGs. Government alone cannot deliver them. We have to work with private sector, we have to work with community-based organizations, we have to work with international organizations. We can only do this together, and that will be our message that we will develop next year and really start to implement then.
A group of Manam Islanders living in Port Moresby fronted up at EMTV this morning to air their disappointment and frustration over the deferral of the Manam Resettlement Bill in the last Parliament session. The islanders say politicians should stop playing politics with the lives of the people living at the care centres and on the island. Sarah Aupong reports.
They said they have been in contact with their traditional leaders who are concerned that the bill has not been tabled in Parliament despite promises and assurances well before the last session of Parliament.
Word we're getting from the care centres and on Manam is that the care centres are much worse than those on Manam. And so with this additional deferment, I think the struggles will get even more harder.
While the bill was mentioned in Parliament, it was deferred to March 2016, which saw a disappointed Medan Governor Jim Cass boycott the rest of the parliamentary and budget seating. The islanders say word from their families on the island is that women are returning empty-handed to their families from their gardens.
There's basically nothing at home, and I guess the approach is that women have given up gardening and there's no hope having been on the island.
There are now two bills before the government. One is geared towards restoration and the other is for resettlement of the islanders. The islanders say restoration is not an option.
Really nothing on the island. From water source to food, how do you expect us to survive?
Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
A preventative order has been given to Sialum settlement community this afternoon by the Morobe provincial government and lay police. The court order will evict anyone who instigates fights or causes clashes in the area back to their home provinces. It comes after fights raged between two groups in the Sialum and Boundary Road settlement. Lay Metropolitan Commander Superintendent Anthony Wagambi Jr. was at the settlement today, his second visit to a lay community as Lay's police boss. The International Training Institute is still waiting for the Ijivitari District Administration to pay its outstanding school fee subsidies for its students. The outstanding subsidies date back to 2013. ITI management says the Ijivitari District Administration has not responded to calls for payment.
Oro students make up 30% of the 1,400 students studying at the International Training Institute per semester from January to June. The increase in student numbers from the province have been attributed to commitment from political leaders in the province to sponsor students to study at the institution. While the provincial government has honored its commitment to settle its outstanding payments, the Ijivitari District Administration is yet to pay up. ITI says the Ijivitari District Administration has over 800,000 kina outstanding since 2013. Most of the students under the Ijivitari School Fee Assistance Scheme have completed their studies. However, their transcripts have been withheld by the institution due to non-payment. The School Fee Assistance Scheme was initiated under the former member for Ijivitari, David Arore, but his term in office has been plagued with lengthy court battles. He is now recontesting the Ijivitari by-election. Whether he wins or not, someone or the administration has to be accountable to pay up the outstanding. Mickey Cavera, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. Among stories after the break, teachers prepare to roll out the standard-based curriculum. And later on in the bulletin, a sneak peek at the Vocal Fusion Battle of Two Seasons finale late tonight. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Minister for Fisheries and Marine Resources, Mao Zeming, has issued a public warning following what he claims is the latest improper remarks by lay open member Lujaya Koza. He says the claims by the lay open member on an automatic allocation of LNG revenue to churches is a figment of her own imagination and only intended to gain support for her own cause from the churches. He added that the government supports the work of churches in many partnerships and programs that have been rolled out. Next year, 2016, elementary schools nationwide will start implementing the standard-based curriculum. Training of elementary teachers already commenced in the National Capital District and will shortly extend to Central and Gulf provinces. Education Department First Assistant Secretary Titus Romano Hartigan says the department is confident that standard-based curriculum will be rolled out next year.
Standard-based curriculum will be implemented in all elementary schools at the beginning of 2016 academic year. Training of elementary teachers on the new curriculum already started in Port Moresby and will extend to other provinces. The standard-based system is a new concept. However, many of the curriculum syllabus are not new. The Education Department realigned teaching approaches and methodologies, among others, in the new system. Primary schools will follow after the elementary.
Primary will be sooner or later during the year. The curriculum they're working on lower primary and upper primary.
Elementary teachers are asked to teach phonics in the first 10 weeks of Term 1. SBC will replace the current outcome-based education system. Many parents have criticized the current OBE system, which resulted in national government decision to implement the SBC. Quinten Alomp, National MTV News.
The Education Department has brushed aside rumors that teachers in Enga province have produced a social science curriculum. The department says this information is false. Education Department First Assistant Secretary Titus Hartigan says teachers in Enga province have produced a social science resource book and not a curriculum.
So while we acknowledge that they have produced a social science resource book, it is wrong for them to say that they have developed social science curriculum. It is not.
The Miss Pacific Islands pageant PNG contestants, along with the reigning PNG Queen, Grace Nugi, were at the St. John's Anglican Church this morning to begin their week-long activities leading to the crowning night. The 6 young women vying for the title received blessings from the head of the Anglican Church in PNG, Archbishop Clyde Igara. The week-long activities will include visits to the National Museum, the Blood Bank, Special Education Centre, Port Moresby General Hospital Labour Ward and Caritas Technical Secondary School. The crowning night will be held at the Crown Plaza Hotel on the 14th of this month. The winner will go on to represent Papua New Guinea at the regional Miss Pacific Islands pageant in the Cook Islands. You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. We'll be back with the details after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. While the national sevens team set the final stages of preparations for the Oceania Sevens Championships, National Coaching Director Sydney Wesley says the Palais are lacking a wider player base. He says although changes have been made, it's time the team looks outside of Port Moresby for talent.
The core Palais team has been intact ever since the inception of women's rugby in Papua New Guinea. Familiar faces Camille Rapila, Dulcie Bormai and Benda Ipat. While these ladies have been the foundation of women's rugby in PNG, perhaps it's time to call for a new era. Current Palais coach and the man who oversees the entire coaching curriculum of PNG rugby, Sydney Wesley, says this can be achieved with consistency in all provinces.
Goroka is going to start there soon, and even Ley. So I'd like to see a lot more union establishing their competition, and not just the PIU, but actually the competition in their local comp, a women's comp, and that's the only way we can get more talent and build up the player base.
Wesley says most of these girls have been around for far too long, but it is now on the union to establish competitions and tournaments for women's rugby nationwide.
It's mainly been Moresby, and 90% of these teams, they've been around for the last, some of them have been around ever since women's rugby was established. And I'd like to see a lot more building up the player base, and the only way we can achieve that is by establishing women's competition in the provincial unions.
So far, only East New Britain has come on board with a strong women's rugby competition, something that hasn't happened before. While it is a work in progress, Wesley says the union is adamant in establishing more competitions in all provinces, as this will greatly benefit their processes in selecting national reps. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
A boxing tournament was held yesterday at Murray Barracks to raise funds for the Kairuku Boxing Association. Funds raised from the tournament will go towards sending the boxers off to the National Boxing Championships in Kavieng, New Island Province.
The fight featured boxers from the Kairuku Boxing Association and the NCD Boxing Association, with boxers going head-to-head. Some of PNG's best boxers were present as well, in the likes of Pacific Games captain Tom Boga and silver medalist Rafaela Kare, who represented NCD Boxing, while gold medalist in the 52 kg division Louis MacGyver boxed for Kaba. Boxers from Kaba put up a good fight against PNG's best. Kaba President Andrew MacGyver thanked the boxers and everyone that took part.
Tournament, we invited him. I requested for this tournament to be taken between the two associations. He approved it, accepted for it to go ahead. Thank you very much for being with us all of this today.
Next week Sunday, we'll see the NCD boxers go at each other in preparation for the national championships in Kavieng. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
And that's it for Trukai Sports. The weather details up next. Then Sarah Alpong goes behind the scenes with the crew of Vocal Fusion. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Here's a look at the weather for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Port Moresby, mostly fine. Cloudy periods in Daru, fine in Kerama, mostly fine in Alatau as well, and brief showers in Popondetta. To the Momase region, evening showers expected in Leh, showers and storms in Wewak, a few showers in Vanimo and Madang, and brief showers in Wau. To the New Guinea Islands, isolated showers in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka, isolated showers as well. And in the Highlands region, all major centres to expect showers with morning fog. Before we go, 2015 is proving to be a year of firsts for MTV's Vocal Fusion. Not only has the singing competition brought back the 7 top contestants from each of the first 2 seasons, the top prize money has doubled, there is live broadcasting from the venue, voting has shifted from the judges to viewers, and the semi-finals last week gave a twist that no one saw coming.
It seemed even the judges were caught by surprise when it was announced that all of the final 4 contestants made it through to the finals tonight. But tonight there will be no more second chances. There has to be a winner, and the winner will be decided by you, the viewers. Again, another first. The voting lines will be open up until the last performance of the evening tonight. And I hear the voting guru has been pretty busy this week collating all your votes. Let's see if we can squeeze out some information from him. Nick, who is leading the votes this week?
I can't divulge that information at this stage of the evening. We have over 4,500 people who have voted so far. It's very close. But I don't even know myself, so I'll find out when Papua New Guinea finds out at about 8:30 this evening.
As to be expected, there is the final rush towards technical preparations, and one of the men overseeing all this is Andrew Howe, the director.
Yeah, from day one to now, we have like the best team here with us.
And as always, when it's Vocal Fusion on MTV, Daryl Muka is on with his flashy suits, and he is predicting a great evening of entertainment ahead.
It's going to be massive. We've got some guest acts as well that will be performing. We've got some dancing, we've got some funny stuff as well. Myself and Nick might sing. I don't know what the producers are going to do. I mean, we've been planning to sing, but so far they've been saying no to us, but I don't know, fingers crossed. I want to sing too. But yeah, it's going to be massive. We've got our guest judge as well joining us tonight, Conqueror, straight out of Jamaica. It's going to be massive. He's going to be singing one of his hit songs, Island Girl, and yeah, it should be good.
Well, you've heard it from the man himself. We're minutes away from finding out who walks away with 100,000 kina and be crowned winner of Vocal Fusion Battle of 2 Seasons. Enjoy it, PNG. Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
And that has been the news, sports and weather this Sunday, the 8th of November 2015. On behalf of all of us here at MTV, pleasant viewing, and do stay tuned for Vocal Fusion's Battle of 2 Season final right after this.